Hey guys, this is a Peacekeeper task guide for Spot Tour Part 7. For this task, we do need to find 4 morphines, 2 alkaline cleaners, 2 corrugated hoses, and 2 propane tanks, and then hand it all over to Peacekeeper. So I will firstly say that you can actually craft 2 of the items required for this task in your hideout, so that way at least you know that you do have a guaranteed way to get your hands on the corrugated hoses and the morphine injectors if you really can't find them in a raid. So the morphine injector craft requires med station level 2 and using 1 pile of meds, 1 painkiller pills, and then 1 disposable syringe, and it will take 1 hour and 12 minutes to produce 1 morphine injector. And then the corrugated hose craft did require lavatory level 2, but at the time that I am making this video, it is available at level 1, and it requires 1 silicone tubing, 3 bundles of wires, and 3 blue insulating tapes, and it will take you 3 hours and 21 minutes to produce 2 found in raid corrugated hoses. Now another way to get the required items for this task are as quest rewards, so starting with the morphines, 2 can be obtained as a task reward for Healthcare Privacy Part 3, and also Pets Won't Need It Part 2, or you can get 3 from completing the Decontamination Services task, and then 4 from completing the Vitamins Part 2 task. And then as for the corrugated hoses, 1 can be obtained as a task reward for the Delicious Sausage task, and then 2 can be obtained for completing the Huntsman Pass Secured Perimeter and Gunsmith Part 13. And then for the alkaline cleaners, you can get 1 from completing the quest No Swiping, and then that will be it for the alkaline cleaners. But as a side note, you will also get a propane tank for completing No Swiping, which is also required for this task. And then your other options for propane tanks are that 2 can be obtained for completing the Fuel Matter and also the Huntsman Path Justice quests. And sometimes you can even get lucky and then have a daily or a weekly task with an item that you need as a reward. And then I did go ahead and do up a few images to easily show the loot containers that each one of these items can spawn in, just that you guys can refer to those for your options. And if you are searching for one in particular, then that way you can focus on those specific loot containers. However, I will say that I typically do not find most of these items in loot containers themselves. Usually I do find the morphines, propane tanks, and alkaline as loose loot around the maps. But loot containers that I do have the best luck for the corrugated hoses are going to be toolboxes or technical supply crates. And then as for the propane tanks, I do have the best luck with technical supply crates and duffel bags. And then the alkaline cleaners is going to be duffel bags. Now, as for the morphines, I have the best luck searching med bags and medical supply crates and also med cases. And then a random fact for you guys is that morphine is the only injector that can actually spawn inside of a med case. So now knowing all of this, in my opinion, the overall best option for you guys to quickly find all these items in the shortest amount of time is going to be going to Interchange or on Shoreline. And on Interchange, the best place for the corrugated hoses, propane tanks, and alkaline cleaners is going to be on the shelves throughout all of Ollie, as well as the back shelves of Goshen. And then by the back of Goshen, I literally mean at the very back in behind Goshen in kind of the supply shelving area, where you do have to go through in order to get out back to go towards the no backpack extract, or if you are on your way towards the Emercom extract. And then on Shoreline, the best places that I have found these items is going to be at the Smugglers camp, where you can actually have spawns throughout the entire place. And then you can always go and take the car extract to get out after you have looted through this entire area. And just remember that before the car extract, there is going to be a few different shacks that are almost like an extension of the Smugglers base. And these also have some loose loot spawns that can include propane tank or alkaline. And there is also a few toolboxes where you can get your corrugated hoses. And then also on Shoreline, up at the weather station, I have found all 3 items laying around the satellite dishes, where you do have to go for signal part 1 and also signal part 3. But just be aware that this is going to be a potential spawn for the goons, and it is also a very highly trafficked area for PMCs. And then the next place on Shoreline is going to be the shelves in the storage rooms by the back entrances closest to the admin building in both the east and the west wings, and then also the shelves at the entrance of the west wing resort next to the hole in the wall. And then lastly, I have also found propane tanks and also alkaline inside the chairman's house at the swamp area, which is going to be the greenhouse. That's the only one that doesn't look like it's going to be falling down on top of itself. And then inside of this building, there is typically also a toolbox. So usually I will check to see if a corrugated hose has spawned in here as well if I do have this task active. So if I am planning to extract at the path to Lighthouse, then I will run past the swamp to look inside this house before going to the extract just to check. Now, as for the morphines, heading back to Interchange, you will always have access to go into Mantis and then also the second floor pharmacy, which is over on the Idea side of Interchange up on the second floor above Trend. But if you do happen to have the Necros Farm, the Ultramed, or the Emercom medical unit keys, then you could always go inside of these rooms in order to check for any morphine spawns. But just know that those rooms are going to be very, very expensive, or those keys rather are going to be very expensive and definitely not necessary, especially since you can just craft the morphines, or you can also get multiple as task rewards. So in my opinion, it wouldn't be worth buying these keys if you are really struggling to find them. Then you can just go into your hideout and craft them anyway. But if these are going to be the last thing that is holding you up for this task, then you can always just try and go to Shoreline at the health resort, which does have over a dozen medical bags scattered around in the open rooms. However, with the dynamic loot, then I really can't give you guys an exact spawn location since they will move around raid to raid, but basically just go in and out of the rooms, especially on the first floor of the east or west wing, and then check in all the different corners and on the chairs and on the tables. And then 2 quick honorable mentions for the propane tanks, corrugated hoses, and alkaline, just to keep in mind that there is a construction area next to the main road on Lighthouse, which does have a couple of potential spawns that you can check for if you are running past this area. And then also keep in mind that Woods now has the train depot, which is accessed by using the BTR, and that is going to be a really, really good spot to go and check for any barter items, but especially the items required for this task. And then this area is oftentimes not even looted just because I find people are intimidated by using the BTR and they think that they're going to end up being stuck over here. But I think that that covers all the different areas that I've had the best luck with for this quest. So hopefully you guys find this guide useful and it does help you to complete this task. Thank you guys for watching my guide on this, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.